So hi, I'm Susanna. I'm 25 and it's awesome to know that we're both part of this youth advisory group for under a PHO.
Yeah, it's really nice to get to know you through the PHO, through the youth advisory group. I'm Carolyn, I'm 20. I'm a third year medical student and we both have the youth advisory board in common. I wanted to ask, what do you do to build resilience in your life?
Yeah, so 3 things. For me, it's the first one is like my mountain or going for walks, and because I come from a big family, a family of 7, at times it gets too noisy and it gets too overcrowded, and so I use that time to like just step away and put on my headphones, listen to my favorite gospel music, and just reflect on the week that was. And that for me is that precious time for myself is where I get to like recharge. And most of the time I put my phone on Do Not Disturb because I literally don't want to disturb me on my walks. But then I kind of like do it on the odd occasion. I just leave it on because my mom calls, and if she calls, it's really important. She probably needs me to do something
Fair
or
enough.
whatever. And then the second is I journal. So in our culture, talking about our feelings it's not seen like it's something that's fairly new. So it's trying to find the right words in terms of like my language and my culture to articulate in a way that somewhat my family understands. And if they don't, then my outlet is my journal where I just put it all there, close it up, and then maybe a couple of years from then I'll like look back and reflect and be like, oh wow, this is how much I've grown or how much has changed in my life. And third is I pray. So as a Christian as well, like and a higher being, I know that for God, there's always something higher than me or there's a higher purpose. So at times when I should just sit in my feelings and be upset, but I know that when I pray and reach out to God, I know that there's something else or there's something else to overcome or the good in that. Yeah. So yeah, what about you? So tell me more about how you build your resilience, or what does that look like to you?
I'm pretty similar to you. I guess I have 3 different things that I do to build resilience as well. The first was just a lot of reflection on my values and my morals and what I want to see in my life, and just getting to know myself better, I guess. So I'm a third year medical student, so I spent a lot of my life thus far studying and working towards a goal. And once I achieved that goal, I kind of had to step back and be like, okay, and what now? Like, I know I have sort of my career somewhat on track, but what do I value? What do I want to see myself learning or doing, or what's my effect on people? Yeah. And so I spent a summer trying to figure that out and figure myself out, and it's still a process, but I found that once I could define things that I valued, it became a lot easier to, I guess, be strong and have faith in what's going on in my life, because I knew that I was prioritizing that and my actions reflected what I wanted. Yeah. And like you, I journal. I found that it's super effective. It's something about taking thoughts and putting it down on paper. Yeah. And just making it tangible that makes it less overwhelming. And I just do that in the hopes of just like untangling like thought processes or anything that I'm going through. Yeah. And I found that it's super effective, and it's taken a little while for me to get to that point. I've always been a reader-writer in terms of learning, and it took me a while to figure out, hey, for my mental health, it's just as effective. And so it's now become a little bit of a routine. I don't journal every day, but just when I need to. Yeah. And it's nice to just like have like a solid copy of my growth throughout a year or however long that journal lasts. So that's super good. And I'm also Christian, so that's another thing we have in common. Perfect pairing. So in my journal, I keep track of, I guess, my hopes and my prayers, and having that tangible record of it is really helpful, because when I look back, I don't actually read through my entries because I don't want to. Often I'm writing when I'm in not the best state. I'm sad or I'm stressed or something's going on, and so I don't want to revisit those emotions or, you know, get back into those thought processes. But I do want to see the growth and what's happened in life. So I write down my little prayer requests, and I have gold stickers, star stickers I put on the side, and they're answered and they're dated. So I can look back and be like, you know what, like all the good things have been answered, and all the like somewhat questionable things that I've been thinking, you know, they've been left aside. So it's a good measure of growth, and it's good for me to look back, because I've realized that I've changed my attitude towards, I guess, the hardships in life or the things that I don't like in life. I'm 20, but when I want to, I guess like the problems that I'm going through seem like a lot now, but maybe in the future won't feel like much. And I guess younger me thinks, would have thought, wow, like, you're going through so much, but you've achieved so much as well. And
I agree, yeah.
Thinking about that, I'm always like, 20-year-old Carolyn doesn't like this, but 30-year-old Carolyn will be better for it. And so it's a change in attitude and a lot of reflection and getting to know myself. And I found that makes me stronger and builds resilience and allows me to get through life well.
I was like, amen. I've like just hearing you like just talk, kind of like an out of body experience, as a 25-year-old, it's so humbling to know that you own your journey. And I think as a, like me, kind of like, okay, what was I doing at 20? Oh my gosh, I was a student too. But it's so important to acknowledge that as a young person, you don't have to figure out the journey. And like just hearing you, it's so encouraging to know that you're trusting the journey, but you're also acknowledging like, okay, these are what I'm feeling now. I don't have to figure it out. The world doesn't have to pressure me to be something or someone.
Right.
Where I am right now is where it's really important, which is really humbling to hear. So yeah.
No, yeah, that's so good. I think that's a good point because I guess social media and like the building of like non-traditional careers, like I'm thinking social media personalities or influencers and whatnot.
Yeah.
It's so easy to feel like at 20 or 25, whatever age, you should have things figured out. You should have that house. You should have that family, everyone seems to already be there and you always feel like you need to catch up. When in reality, I think almost everyone's feeling like they're not there and they haven't figured it out. And that's like realizing that is half the battle. And then you can work towards being stronger and more resilient.
On your terms.
Yeah,
right?
on your terms.
On your
exactly.
terms. Yeah.
It's a you thing. You don't have to compare yourself to everyone else.
Yeah, it's so key because when we say like your terms, I think earlier we were talking about resilience for, say, for example, my grandfather who like moved to New Zealand from Tonga. That's completely different to how I define resilience. And for me, like growing up and seeing him, like, whoa, I want to be as strong as him. Like, But now it's like seeing that my own battles that I've had to go through, when I've overcome that, that's how I've defined resilience. So you being able to say that to our young people as well, like, hey, we might come from, say, for example, different generations of one house, which I do. There's probably like 1, 2, 3. Oh my gosh, 3.
Yeah.
So it's like probably for Nan and Mom, how they define resilience is completely different. So how Mom overcomes, it'll be nice to hear how she tackles things. Like how does she overcome battles of being a solo parent? Right. How do I overcome being a product of that? So how we just shared as well.
And it's important to note that it's all valid, like you don't.
Agreed.
Like you being valid doesn't invalidate someone else's resilience or their struggles or what they've been through or what they do to be strong and resilient. And I guess that's just another thing to always keep in mind when you're dealing with other people and yourself. Yeah.